you better go take it. Always they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough.
Hello, and welcome to Hero Shack Daily Things, episode 2. I am the only one here right now, but Diana did just show up. So hang on, let me get rid of that. And let's bring... Oh, hello, lady. You're looking mighty pretty tonight.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Awesome.
I neglected to get something that I wanted up. So let me pull this up.
Okay.
Okay, and let me come back over to the StreamYard screen and let me do my thing.
Yes, sir, B.
So you know what today was, right?
No, what was today?
Today was the day that we made our funding. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I am so
We
sorry.
are now at 12 backers, fully funded. We know who you are. Thank you, guys. The repeat customers were floored. And now we have to find a way to increase that reach.
Yes.
We have 27
need to,
days.
Right. And we need to go beyond that.
Hey, look,
so we
it's a
can
picture
get
of
to
me.
the next stretch goal. What's that?
It's a picture of me.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah,
so we're gonna scan down here real quick. Get to the stretch goals. Now, our next stretch goal is $1,500. And that'll be sketch cards drawn exclusively by me at 3.5 by 2.5. That's the standard size. Those of you out there who follow me know that I'm not a great fan of these because I think they're too small, but it is what the industry loves. So I will do it.
And so your sketch cards, will they be from the Great Cyclopean or are they going to be random or what?
Well, they will be characters from the Great Cyclopean comic book series.
Okay.
So they might be I equals sum. They might be Captain Aura. They might be Cyclopean. Could be Plato. There's a number of characters. It could be members from the Zenith team,
Okay. I wasn't sure. I kind of figured that, but I thought we should clarify it for anybody that might be interested in helping us get to that next stretch goal.
I think that's a great idea. And really, guys, the stretch goals, they're going to be a blast because once we get past 1,500, if we can blow it up to 2,500, the Great Cyclopean embroidered patches. We don't even have a graphic up yet because we know not to give you guys too much. We need to focus on the little things first.
Yep.
One step at a time.
Yes, sir.
And there is the big one, of course. We do have the $5,000 stretch goal, the Titans of Justice Ashcan comic. It's a black and white. It's far more than an Ashcan at this point because I never do anything small and short. But it will be ready provided that the stretch goal is met. And that'll be a black and white of the Titans of Justice, which is tied to my childhood. I'm screaming down the screen right now, streaming it. And there we go. These are some of the actual pieces of artwork coming out of the Ashcan. Yeah. And actually, I must tell you that some of these have been already updated and advanced and changed a little bit. But this is basically what we're looking at. And it's going to be a blast. So, yeah, we're kind of celebrating. I mean, for bigger companies, $1,000 doesn't feel like a lot. But to us, it's heaven. Thank you, guys. Mm-hmm. We are getting somewhere.
And it's kind of funny because you're right. We still have, I think, 27 days of something to that.
Is that what you'd like? Let's see. How many? No, we got more than that.
I don't know.
We do. We only have 27. You're right.
27. Yep. I looked, actually looked today. So I was like, so we have just a little under a month to reach our first stretch goal and more. We would love to make that happen. And so feel free to check it out. Remember, the PDFs are on our website, HeroShack.com. You can read through the first, I think it's 1 through 6, right, Chris? One
That
through
is
6.
absolutely correct.
So 1 through 6, check them out, read the story. And if you like what you see, hop on over to Fund My Comic and sign up for the Great Cyclopean 7. Help
Now,
us make
this
that
will sound crazy,
second
but I want to
story.
tell everybody this. Even if you have no intention of buying the Great Cyclopean, check out the PDFs and let us know what you think. We love the feedback. And what the heck? Free comics are more fun than anything in the world. And if you happen to like them, we got them there for sale. You know, you can put them on your shelf. You can show them to your friends. You can give them away as gifts. These are like amazing gifts. Kids get freaked out when they get these. They love them. And the kid in you will love it as well. So,
And the kid in you. I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The kid in
Can't
you.
guarantee that because it's all
Oh,
subjective, but I
true.
believe.
Oh, that's good. So what else is going on in our crazy world?
Well, let's see. There was, it's been kind of a salty day. There's been a lot of reaction to the Vic King news.
Oh, yeah.
People everywhere are just, what do they call that? Disavowing him. And
Yeah.
I get that. I kind of feel bad for him because as a Christian, I look at it like, well, how does he find, reconciliation? How does he find redemption? How does he find forgiveness when sexual crimes against kids? I don't think there's anything more heinous short of like cannibalism or something. It's just. So how does he find that? That's going to be such a hard trip for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel bad for him in that sense. But then again, it's the most, yeah. So I know that there are many creators, including our friend Tim, who are redoing artwork in their projects to get rid of anything that he might have freelanced on. And the most disappointing thing have been people who have mocked Comicsgate in general because Vic was involved, as if child rapists come with the stamp on their head and we all just ignored it.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is there's been bad people in everything from modern day mainstream comics to independent comics to Comicsgate to politicians to religion to music actors, you name it. School
Well,
teachers.
I think part of the whole Vic King movement, if you want to call it that, is because he was such a poor businessman in the sense of he didn't keep his word. And when he did, the product that he delivered was not up to what
he had done previously. Not even up
it
not
was
even
kind of
opinion.
like, so I think it was, and that to me seemed like the icing on the cake. I know for me, I was like, yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm just not surprised. So it's sad because another person's life was affected by his actions. It makes me sad that he's such a broken person that this is something that he actually took part in. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. And we steered clear of him for a number of years when he did not follow through after we paid him. He did not follow through and deliver what he should have delivered after I sent the money to him. And I reached out to him several times and it was always, oh yeah, I'm going to get that to you. I'm so sorry. And the bottom line is, if anybody was to buy a Great Cyclopean book and they came back to Chris and I and they were like, this is the worst comic I've ever read, I want my money back, I would absolutely give it to them. I wouldn't even blink twice because I don't want somebody to buy one of our books and feel that way. I don't. We want to deliver a good quality product, a great story that reaches all ages, geared more towards probably the upper elementary through high school kid. But I don't know. I enjoy it, and I'm not a comic.
Well, the thing about it is,
person.
if we make comics the way they did in the 80s, our first focus is supposed to be the younger kids, but it should appeal to the older kids, and it should appeal to adults who are looking for, adventure and action and superheroes and comics. The problem is in the 21st century, we've gotten into a position where the primary market in America, at least for indie comics, appears to be, male over the age of 35. And that's not the same market as it was when I was a kid. And when I say kid, you got to understand, I'm talking the 80s. So I was between 15 and 20, you know. Little kids, it's even more simplistic. It doesn't, you have to reach the primal core of adventure in order to get them reading. And that means you don't get too deep into the weeds about anything.
Right.
I mean, you know, you can tease about adult issues. Tony Stark was an alcoholic and a womanizer.
That's true.
But yet there weren't any huge, you know, it wasn't what it is today.
Right.
Right.
Right. No, it isn't. Again, you know, we see a decline in comic book reading pretty much across the board. I see a lot of kids reading graphic novels, which is very similar to the comic book, except it's a little bigger in the school and the students that I work with. But in all honesty, it's still there. A graphic novel, a comic book, kids are still reading. And I think for us, for Hero Shack, for Chris and I, we are really targeting the kids. Like that's who Chris is writing for, is the younger generation. We have a lot of our age people that follow us and seem to enjoy our comic, but Chris is writing for, you know, middle school, high school. What's up? Hey, good stuff. Hey, Miss Rena.
I was about to say we need to pay attention to the chat for a second.
I am. I
know you're typing it, but do you know people hate it when you don't say hello on the live stream? So like, hello, Rick and Terry, and hello, Miss Rena, and hello, good stuff. And just to get it spinning again, Tony Stark's vices made him a well-rounded character, indeed, and that was probably why he was. I always want to say he was my favorite, but Peter Parker really rivaled him the whole time. But Iron Man was one of my all-time favorites. So good stuff says I'm old. I don't know if that I don't know.
But good stuff. We are good. We're good stuff. Get it? Wink, wink.
You know what's funny? When I think about being old now, I'm going to be 54 this year? No, 55.
Yeah, I think so.
I still don't feel old.
You don't act old either.
Well, that's all in the heart, you know. And this is like something that I think many comic creators can relate to. Mm-hmm. But when you're around kids, when you're sharing your comics, when the excitement's there, it makes you younger. It's like you feel you feel energized. It's a matter of if you can get caught up, and it doesn't even have to be your own comics. Like when kids get excited about Spider-Man, I get excited. When they get excited about Batman, I'm there. Even the dumb things that I know nothing about, you know, like Dogman. I know nothing about Dogman, but boy, do they get thrilled if you pull out a pen and start drawing the guy.
So Good Stuff said that he liked the trailer countdown that we did. And
so does he mean the old FMC trailer countdowns? Because we didn't do one last month.
I think so. Good Stuff. Are you talking about the FMC countdown? You can go ahead and reply. Yep.
Yeah. I enjoyed doing those. The problem was I didn't think anybody else was watching them. So I didn't want to like be that weirdo who keeps spinning out countdowns, but maybe we can look at it again if there's interest. I enjoyed the heck out of it. It was just, it was something that like, for me, I got to see everybody's trailers.
You did too. And it was fun. I think that if we had gotten more feedback, you might have continued.
Well, like I also think it might be worthy
and interacting, right? Interacting with them.
Yeah, but it might be worthy to, or worth it to retool it a little too. Instead of doing a top 40, maybe doing a top 20 or a top 10, because the nature of campaigns, they usually go 30 to 60 days, if not longer. So the countdown, you know, doesn't get a lot of fresh material in there. You know, that's what I noticed. Doing them over 4 months, a lot of the videos were still there that were there in the beginning. And they get a steady vote, they get a steady amount of attention, but they're not fresh. It's not like top 40 stuff where there's new
Right.
releases every week.
Right.
Now, if we extended that into Kickstarter and Indiegogo, that would be one thing. But to be honest, FMC is my home. I love FMC. I've loved it since the day that we started fundraising on it. It's just, there's something about it. It probably has a lot to do with Luke Stone.
Yep.
I'm not ashamed to say I'm a fan of the man.
Well, he's an awesome dude.
Yeah. So, I mean,
he runs a good ship.
and I love to compare FMC to a comic book shop and Indiegogo and Kickstarter to Walmarts that carry comic books.
Right.
There is a difference. It's good to know that the guy that's doing the, that owns the crowdfunding site that you're on, it's good to know he's also making comics. So he understands, when you explain something that you're having a frustration with, odds are he's already dealt with it 5 times over.
Right. That's true. That's true. So perhaps maybe in the spring, maybe you could do like a spring, fall, winter countdown thing. I don't know.
Maybe we'll go back to monthly and just do top 10s.
Monthly is so hard though. It takes
Not if it's a top
so
10. Not if
much.
it's a top 10. You're talking less than 30 minutes. And that's if each one was 3 minutes long, and they're not. They're usually about a minute long.
Right. So good stuff. I'll just put it up there. He thinks that maybe twice a year trailer countdown would work, maybe a bigger audience. I personally think the monthly is too much. And I only say that because you have a lot of, I'm going to say crap, but it's not crap. You have a lot of stuff that you're doing. You have a lot of work that you need to do. And you and I both know how long it takes you to put those countdowns together, but
Yeah.
I kind of like the seasonal thing, because we can make, hey, the spring is here and we're springing into new, like do something really like what I would do, like quirky, like kind of big.
It's definitely worth considering, and I am.
So think about that. But I'm glad that we had somebody here in the chat mentioning that they did enjoy it. That's always encouraging for us, because sometimes, you put things out there and it just falls flat and there's no response. And we're like, oh, that didn't go over so well. And because go ahead, you can speak.
I was going to change the subject. I want to play a video that I caught today, and I want to be careful because I don't want to blast this guy. I don't know anything about him, but there were some things that kind of bothered me, and I wanted to talk about him real quick. Do you mind?
I know. No.
All right. So here's the video.
Okay.
When I talk about Comicsgate and how I am such not a fan, it's not about their politics. Everybody thinks it's because, I'm woke or this. It's not. It's because of their marketing. You don't hear a peep from them until they got a book on Indiegogo, and then they're stirring the pot, saying terrible things about people.
Okay, wait a minute. That's the first thing I wanted to take notice on. You don't hear anything until they have a new book. Well, you shouldn't, because they're making a book usually. You don't want to hear from them if they're making their book. So that part kind of got to me, because the only time you do hear from a lot of creators is when they're crowdfunding. So that's not really fair.
Could you how do you say this? Could you talk about the book that you're creating? Sort of like
maybe, but I don't put that on a creator to have to do that, though. The creative process is individual and subjective, and to just make note like, why you don't hear from them unless they're doing a book, fun.
Well, yeah, like a blanket statement. You don't know why. Maybe they're creators and they're creating, and they don't have that. There's a lot of creators out there, and you and I talked about this when we used to go to Comic Cons before we opened up our business, that some of these creators are just really shy, quiet, introverted people, and they wouldn't even think to do that. They wouldn't even think to say, hey, I've got this character, and do like,
well, you also want to
4x6 cards saying the book is coming type of thing.
Yeah, but you also want to avoid talking about something before it's ready, because then if you do run into delays, you're going to have a lot of problems.
But you don't necessarily,
because you've been talking your book up for a month, and it's going to take an extra 2 months. It can just get messy, and I understand why people want to do it, but let's jump back in real quick.
And then they're stirring the pot, saying terrible things about people.
Now, that part I understand. I don't know why that seems to come off that way, because usually what ends up happening is if you're on Twitter or Facebook, you end up getting into some sort of skirmishes. So like, I don't know if people are stirring the pot or because they're becoming more active talking about their own campaigns, the pot comes to them. I don't know which way it needs, which way it goes, but that is unfortunate. I wish the negativity was gone too.
There's people in their club that I don't think are good people and are not good actors. And
Yep, he's right. And there's people in every group and every division of humanity that are bad actors. And that's something that bothered me when he said that.
Right.
Like, yeah, okay, I'm not going to lie to you. We just had a child rapist exposed yesterday who was a diehard member of Comicsgate. Of course, there's bad people in Comicsgate, but there's bad people in your local church. There's bad people in your city
everywhere.
hall. There's bad people in mainstream.
And I like to use the word broken, but that's just me and my personal.
No, you're right. Technically, you're right, because bad people are typically just broken. Very few people are actually evil incarnate, though they do exist. I do think someone like Epstein was an example of evil incarnate,
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Who is this gentleman that we're listening to?
That was something I was going to get at the end of the video. Let me finish.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And
sorry.
That's okay.
I don't think that that's the people you'd want to have as customers or
What? I am going to be honest with you. I don't care who buys my book if they want to buy the book. Like, I don't go, you know what? You're a little bit too left or you're a little bit too right.
We don't have you fill out a character profile before you are able to purchase our book.
Right. I want you all to be our customers because then my stories have an opportunity to reach your hearts and your minds and other people's hearts and minds. So I disagreed with that statement, but let's continue. It's almost done.
Associate with them. And when, listen, you lay down with dogs, you wake up with fleas. That's that kind of thing. You lay down with pigs, you end up coming up dirty. It's there's 1,000 comments about who you hang out with and what's that say about you.
I don't even know what to say to that.
So he's referring to people who buy your comic book. Is that where we're going with this?
I think
what he was saying? Like, wait a minute.
I think what he's actually trying to say is he doesn't want to be associated to Comicsgate because he thinks he'll get up with fleas. He thinks it'll rub off and give him a negative. I think
that for me personally, if you're in business with somebody, you want to deal with people who are upfront and honest, yes, but you can't control the people that buy your flipping book, for the love of God. So that's what I was asking. Like, he was referring to, okay, so I would like, to only have people buy my books that are upright, moral, ethically sound people. Is that what he said? Like, I didn't understand what he was saying.
That's how he started, but then he kind of converts over to the creators and stuff. He's kind of mixing the whole thing.
Okay.
And it's just, I don't get it because if he's going by that logic, okay, let's just watch the video. Pay attention to the background because he's got some of the cheesiest stuff back there. And I'm like, you really,
Even if you're profiting on them, this happens during wartime. There's profiteers who make money on wartime, selling weapons to both sides and stuff like that. And we talk terrible about those people. Well, if you want a book that doesn't have any of the politics in it, then make a book that doesn't have any politics in it and shut up. If Cyber Frog was a great...
Okay, so he says a lot of things that are right, and actually it goes along with kind of what Colonel Morg is saying. CG did do that to itself, but on the other hand, this guy here, I don't know. This is where I struggle because I know CGers that are, dyed in the wool Christians who wouldn't hurt a fly that are just out there making books to make books, and then we know there are some that tickle racism or talk really down to women or whatever their offenses may be. But I see that in everything else too. And it's just hard for me to swallow that the whole group is considered outcast because I don't know why, because they're overshadowed by people like Ethan Van Sciver or whatever. But that's really not fair, where he's going with the war, profiteering is like he doesn't want Comicsgate customers because he doesn't feel he should make profit off of them. That's bad. I think he's trying to make like a blood money argument.
Book, it would have never stopped printing on Image.
Okay, that
Right.
was something stupid. He said the book would have never stopped printing in Image, but the book wasn't ever printed at Image, and I don't know what the deal was. He was being printed, I guess, by Harris Comics, and yeah, so he left for DC, which was a much bigger job, and then when he left DC, he revived Cyberfrog. So I don't know. Maybe the guy doesn't know the history of Cyberfrog, but he kind of disses it here a little bit.
So you mean to tell
would've-
me this guy is talking about Cyberfrog, which is obviously Ethan's baby,
Right.
and he's commenting that Cyberfrog was published by Image and it wasn't?
Well, and yeah, but I'm not going to hold that against him. I mean, maybe he just doesn't know
That's
enough
so
about.
weird. Why would you say that? Anyways, go ahead.
Lasted
Carry
as long
on,
as
carry
Spawn
on.
did. Everybody's like, "Oh, this book is transcendent." The new book from Indiegogo, Cyberfrog. It's a transcendent book. It's not. Is he a competent artist? Yes.
So I don't know. I think it's transcendent because it's an indie book that sold in the millions. I don't know anything about the book myself. I've only seen clips of artwork. I've never read it. I've never read a review of it. But this guy is a little like I don't think he understands at least why I consider it transcendent.
It's such
Yeah,
a
he's a
weird
competent
word.
artist.
It is.
Competent telling storytelling too with his art. Great. Make a book. Shut up. Now let's get away from the drama part of it because,
So make a book, shut up. Okay, I get it. I have preached that for years. But as Ethan has proven, he does things his own way, and if he can make millions while doing it, or even hundreds of thousands. But here's the thing that got me about this guy. So he's got Squirrel Pool, and he's got a Disney, what's the name? Ursa from The Little Mermaid. He's got the Funko Pop things going on there. And I mean, I don't know. I can't read all the things in his bookshelf there. I see the X-Men, but like he's saying like he doesn't want to be tainted by Comicsgate, but this stuff over here, the Funko Pop and stuff, if you're a fan, that's great, but man, I don't know, he's not doing the full comic thing. He's
The
doing
fact
pop
that he
culture.
doesn't even get, he quotes somebody, a pretty big guy, and quotes the book and doesn't even get the facts right. I mean, right there, it's like, okay, so you have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, no, I think he does, but I think he's more of a pop dealer, like
Pop culture.
right.
kinda
Comics are part of his whole ensemble.
So
not
why is he
anything else.
talking about Comicsgate and even saying
Well, I
anything
don't know
about-
his motives, and I don't want to. That's the thing. I don't want to cut him too deeply because I don't know the guy. I just know
I don't want to cut him at
agree
all.
with
I just want to know who he is. I want to visit his shop and I want to have a conversation. Where is
that
he
comes
from?
and goes. I can get canceled for hating on Comicsgate. Who knows? Those guys are vicious. They come after you, but I'm well able for them. I'm not big enough to care. When I talk about
So, okay, that's the end of the clip. But is that the attitude that people have against Comicsgate? I think a lot of them do, but
But that's so dumb. That's such a collective opinion. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. It's like,
well, to me, it's too broad of an opinion. You can't, or you
Right.
can, but if you cut off whole swaths of people by a hashtag,
because of certain things
well,
that
you're
have
missing,
happened.
you're missing out on a lot more than people like. I don't know. For all the bad things that people can say about Comicsgate, which I
Mhm.
can agree with 100%. Like I said, there are people in our chat right now who would consider themselves members of Comicsgate that would pass any purity test you want to throw out there,
Mhm.
right? I mean, I know people in the chat right now who make books that are intentionally written with the hero's heart.
Yes.
I know at least one creator in the chat right now that does actually have a Christian superhero, and
Right.
he considers himself Comicsgate.
Right.
So you can't tell me that like Comicsgate is entirely an evil thing. It's not like some Nazi group from Germany. It's
Well,
not.
It's ignorance is what it is. It's taking a body of people, and because a few have done some pretty outlandish things, just labeling everybody in that particular body of people, whether it's Comicsgate, whether it's
Well, the one thing I can say is the biggest ones who get in trouble are the biggest stars in Comicsgate. And to that, each independent creator has to know, am I big enough to absorb their bad things, or do I, not want to deal with it? And the truth is, you don't have to absorb anything. If you're making your books, if you're a good person and you're out there doing the right things, you'll stand on your own no matter what hashtags are behind you.
This is true.
And I don't know if that's something that's clear enough to all creators. Do your best work and do the best you can to get it out there,
And be a good person. Be truthful. Be honest in your interactions with other people.
Well,
But,
that's a big
I
one.
mean,
Too. Like, I can tell people when Vic, didn't ship the promised artwork. I've never seen Diana just lose heart in a fellow creator like that. Like, that's the worst thing you can do to her, is tell her a lie. Oh.
Yeah, I have a real hard time with that, I guess.
And it's not that you're not flexible, because you gave him a ton of chances.
No, of course I did. Of course I did. I
So,
just
Dr. I think that's hilarious, but like, we're not looking for, well, at least I'm not. I don't think we're looking for purity, but we're also not looking. So we don't want to get the worst of the worst, but we understand everybody's freaking human.
no, you didn't read that whole thing that Scott just said.
I didn't. I probably missed it. I saw him say he's super pure.
No, and so okay. Can we just pause the conversation, because he's just being fresh. So let me put it up here because it's funny. I'm super pure. Trust me, I'm from Alabama. The last 6 generations of our family kept it in the family. Get it? Okay, so we're just going to take that down because he's just being fresh, and it's funny, and I appreciated the humor. But anyway,
Yes.
So let me ask you, Christopher, what was your main purpose for sharing this interesting interview with this unknown named person that we should find out? You know what? I have an idea. I'm going to message Vicky. She'll find him.
She probably already knows who he is.
He will know.
But wait, let me say this. My main purpose was to point out that you can't trust men in Darth Vader shirts. You simply can't. No, my point was, basically, I saw that and I was thinking it's all based on generalities. Like, for instance, I read the Black Widow miniseries or mini run that the Soska sisters did. A lot of people hated it. I did not hate it, although I didn't read it looking for Black Widow. I haven't read Marvel Comics in 8 years, 5 years.
Right.
So when I read it, I wasn't thinking of, I wasn't thinking of Black Widow. I was like, oh, here's a stupid, like, Captain America from Hydra walking in the beginning, and Black Widow's doing an upside down thing, which there's no reason she would do, but whatever. There was a lot of dumb stuff that kind of broke the character mold for me. And then I just read it, and it was basically, vigilante against pedophilia. And who can't get behind that? I'm like, all right, that's cool. Go beat the bad guys up and save the children. I'm getting caught into the chat.
Yeah.
Let's see. You need to have Vicky sniff something that was her scent. That has
his scent.
I got it. Yeah, I got it.
Of course, he put hair instead of his. And wait, are we talking about a person with a surname that represents a royal position?
A king? No. Good Lord, I don't know anymore. So what else do you want to talk about tonight, my love? I showed the video because I wanted to talk about how more diverse Comicsgate is than just the bad stuff. And I know the bad stuff. Like, I know right now the biggest thing in Comicsgate is Ethan and July's fighting. And I found that initially intriguing, and I still find it somewhat stimulating when they get into it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. Ethan makes great art, and Eric July, I don't know what he does. He sells a lot of well, not a lot. He makes a lot of money on comics, and that's great. I keep saying that too, Scotch. I don't know. I felt troubled when Testify passed because I never had a chance to kind of make amends with him. We kind of, when he passed, we were kind of not talking. And it's not like I have a great regret, like, gee, my life will have a hole in it. But I just wish I could have been on better terms when he passed. Let it go, brother.
Well, it's interesting. This is the second night that Testify has been brought up. And I know our interactions, we had quite a few actually with him. He was always really, believe it or not, kind to me. He was always supportive of Chris and I. He would talk with us about what we should and shouldn't do. And it was always in a very rough and gruff Testify way. You kind of had to read between the lines. But I was never vilified by him. I was never, he was never mean to me or anything like that. So, I mean, my personal opinion of Testify, I thought he was okay. I thought, I didn't always like some of the things that he did to other people. I thought it was a little.
Well, I got
That's
really
just
upset.
me.
I got really upset when he had the issue with the autistic girl that was deaf and all that. But that's what I do. So for those who don't know, I have a diagnosis of Asperger's back when they called it that. It's now part of the spectrum of autism. And that doesn't mean I'm a freak or anything, but I will respond sometimes, not irrationally, but a little bit more emotionally than people would expect. And if I see you picking on one of my peeps, which is a person who's in the autistic spectrum, you might hear me get a little defensive.
Yeah.
Especially if I feel like they're incapable of defending themselves.
Right.
But I'm that way with almost anybody, pick on a kid, pick on a woman, pick on an Asperger's person,
Right.
Pick on a dude that can't defend himself or that's outnumbered. And you might see me going, hey, now wait a minute, gosh, put those torches down. We don't need to be lighting up those torches.
Well, you always have been a defender of the people that aren't able to sort of protect themselves. And you're very good at debate. That's kind of one of your gifts. So yeah, I can see that. Oh,
so Cross Comics, the big guy, see, he seems misinformed about a bunch of things, but in many ways, that's like the whole Blur or Fog of War. Like, he probably doesn't know the details of Comicsgate. He knows some of the controversies, and it's a lot like Marvel. Every now and then, I'll have a fan tell me, "Have you read the last 6 issues of such and such? It kicks ass." I'm like, "No, as a matter of fact, I don't read any Marvel because I got totally turned off." So there is like that fog in between the two, mainstream and indies. All I've read for the last 2 years are indie comics, and frankly, it's been amazing because some of them are great, some of them aren't, but I love them all. There is a thrill to reading a 24-page piece of junk because you realize that even though it's not the best work, it's somebody's heart and soul, and that can mean more than the best artist, the best writer who's just doing it for the money. Good evening, Herman P. Hunter.
Yes. So, and somebody who has poured out their story onto pages and has put it out in public for them to read. I even if the story is poorly written and there might be a gazillion typos and sentence structure issues or whatever, the art might be bad, I still want to credit them for stepping out into that whole thing, I just.
So I wanted to comment on this. Because when I was growing up, my mom didn't understand either, but they didn't really have a diagnosis for me. For me, I think what happened was I had a brother die when I was 7. He was a younger brother. He died in a drowning, and I didn't express emotions the way they expected. And that was directly addressed, directly because of the Asperger's that I had, that they did not even have, in a public diagnosis. It was something they were talking about in academics. When I was 13, I remember another child died, and that made me cry a little bit. That was upsetting to me because the kid had a heart condition, and it just struck me weird. And that was when they stopped forcing me to go to psychologists and counselors. And all that time, they wanted me to cry about my brother. And it wasn't there because that's one of the things about autism for me. death doesn't usually hit me the same way it hits other people. It doesn't mean that I don't regret.
Right. And
miss
sometimes
love
it's really, sometimes it's late for you. If I can, as your wife, can see you, and
well, you'd know better than me because I of course live in denial of my emotions on a regular basis.
Yes, I know. And as his wife, who lives and breathes it, with him. I mean, he didn't get the diagnosis until I said, something's different with this person that I am in now a relationship with. I wonder what it could be. Is he crazy? No, he can't be crazy. I wouldn't be involved with a
you guys
crazy
have ever
person.
seen the autistic logo with the little puzzle pieces? That was what it was like about, I don't know, 3.5, 4 years into our marriage. She started putting things together, and puzzle pieces started coming together. And first she had me do an online autistic test, and I was like skyrocketing on it. So then she took me to I don't know, a shrink, a psychologist, or which one was it? I don't know which one did the testing or whatever, but this guy,
yes.
yes, this guy
It was
took
a
us.
psychologist who was able to give me help in understanding who you were. And I worked in a field where I interacted with many autistic children and higher functioning, because that's really what you are.
In
Very
secret,
high
that's
functioning.
probably why she was
And
attracted,
so,
because she understood the diagnosis.
in the beginning of our relationship, when Chris would like have total major meltdowns and, like his panties in a bunch kind of stuff over the simplest things, like, hey, I'm going to Walmart. I'll be back around 4:30. And I come strolling in with our children at 5:30. And he's having a full-on mental breakdown because we were gone for an hour. And me and the children are looking at him going, but we got carried away. I had, 3 children with me and they got carried away and whatever. So there were certain things that happened early on in our relationship that started me thinking something's not quite in place with this person. And I have to figure out how to,
that's what
but
the neurotypicals call it. What she meant to say is, this man does not respond the same way I do. But that's what she meant to say.
So
you neurotypical you.
and I'm sorry, in my household, I'm the odd man out because we have another child who has the same diagnosis as Chris. And so currently all our children have gone except for Chris and my other adult child, who both have the same diagnosis. So I'm the odd man out. So
yeah, but our daughter is nuts. I'm not the nuts one. She's the nuts one.
You are the nuts. Yeah. So, and Herman's wife also deals with autistic kids. Yay. They are the best group of people ever. Ever, 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 ever. I mean, if you
wonder why I have a big ego.
Yeah. No, seriously.
That's the people ever.
Seriously. They are. You just have to figure out what their buttons are and not push them unless you want to have some sparks. And so,
which can be fun too.
Yeah, they can be fun too. He thinks outside the box. And Scotch, I think that you're saying that you are autistic. And yeah, you probably think outside the box too. And
the problem with thinking outside the box
is pretty cool.
Except, well, it's cool about 30% of the time.
Except
when you're on Twitter, for instance, I say some really cool things. About 3 things out of 10 is really cool. And then there's like the 7 other things that are just like, and so unfortunately, I don't know when to shut up.
He still doesn't. But anyhow, we are here because our book, and I say ours because I am the editor and I am the one that does everything. So Chris can draw. I like to say that every once in a while. Has totally funded, and we're very excited about that. So now we are working towards the stretch goal, which is we need another $497, I believe, to make the first stretch goal, which will be, I was going to say scratch cards. Oh my God.
No, they're called sketch cards, honey.
I know. Scratch cards. Sketch cards. Yes, sketch cards. All done by Christopher. Not me. I don't draw. I can do some smiley faces and send them in. That'd be kind of fun.
Hey, if you guys want a sketch card by Diana, just make sure you note your orders, and we'll get you some from Diana.
I can do the cutest little mouse.
No, in all honesty, Diana's done some artwork on her own.
I have.
She did, for instance, she did a panda for a t-shirt that came out really cool.
Yep.
And she can draw when she really applies herself.
No. I need let's make this very clear. I need a visual to look at. And I use like grid paper so I can literally copy it. So I have some very good visual perceptual skills. So I have very good copying skills. But to come up with a character all by myself without looking at a photo or a visual reference, that's not going to happen. But that's not my forte. My forte is more writing. So I'm in the process of writing a couple.
Right. But my point is, you can draw when you really want to, and it's enjoyable.
Yes.
I think your biggest problem, and you know what? I've made, God, how many books have I made now? A lot of books.
Yeah.
And sequential art is always going to be the ladder that you want to climb up. No matter how good you get, you want to get better, because to make that art sing a story, it's like a ballad from Journey in the 1980s.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know, like, Don't Stop Believing? It's
oh my gosh.
Right?
All right. So listen, guys. No, don't see. Here we go. What time?
What is wrong with Journey?
What is wrong with Journey? Nothing's wrong with Journey. I love Journey.
Why are you dissing it then?
So yes. So Mighty Geek Studio says you do it every time you write a story, Diana. You're right. So I don't draw. I use words to draw. There you go.
Yeah. Remember The Great Wind?
Thanks, Scotch. Oh, yes, I do remember that. So
hey, Scotch, thanks for coming by.
Thanks
I love the name.
In. You have a great night. Yep. So retweet or post for your book. That would be perfect. Thank you so much. And you have an awesome night as well. So you're right. I draw using words. Thank you, Terry. I am an artist of words.
Yes.
How do you like that?
You are a poet. And you know it.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Moving right along. What else we got to talk about this fine evening? We have 1 hour. You have an hour of my time, and then I have to go do stuff. So we have 10 minutes and counting before Miss Diana has to go off to her.
One of the things to know is we're streaming nightly now. Now tomorrow night we will be on at 9 like our regular Wednesday nights, but we're going to try to come on every night at 8. Now, why would we do that? Because repetition builds a base, and it's as simple as that. I didn't believe it until actually I realized through the Vic King situation how many people have been watching him because he streamed regularly. Now, I should have realized it with Ethan Van Sciver's Trash Cats, which kind of made me aware of it as well. But the more I looked at it, the more people I realized it's just they stream all the time. I found myself looking for people who stream regularly at the same time just to see what's up, catch up. And I believe that Diana is quite simply the most mesmerizing person in the world.
Dear God.
And so if I can get her on nightly.
Oh my God. Listen, so don't listen to him anymore. See what happens when he's on too long. He starts talking. It makes me crazy. Don't listen to that.
Well, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't.
Listen, what you can listen to is if there is something that you would like to hear us talk about, or if you have a topic that you would like us to venture into, or you'd like to get like to know us a little bit more, just send us an email.
Hey, baby.
Chris is on what? Twitter?
Facebook is probably the safest.
What's it called now? X? It's called Twitter.
I am on Twitter, but I got to warn everybody. Nobody who knows me should ever follow me on Twitter. I am like a rattle on Twitter.
He's a hot mess.
I will say things. Sometimes I say things just to be ironically funny, and they just go off wrong. I'm the one who will say something politically incorrect. I'm the one who will, just because it's Twitter, it's X. So, like, if you know me, you probably don't want to follow me there. Facebook is much safer. We post everything that we're doing there. I don't know. When I'm on Twitter, I just feel like that's my place to kind of be a jerk. And I don't really mean to be, but in other words, I don't worry about what I'm saying. If a topic comes up and I have something feel about it, I will just blurt it out.
No, you're
Where I
so
might not do that like at a family dinner.
well. Again, being online without much else.
Well, I got so
People
just
don't
to give
really
you guys
know
an
you.
example, I had an account permabanned because I basically went along with the idea that protesters, I don't even want to say it because I could get banned for saying it, but people who marched in the streets, and they were blocking highways, I was like,
So I got smart,
yeah,
and he only has a monthly subscription because the last time I bought him a year, it came out of our business budget because he was promoting the business. So I said, well, I can justify this, and we'll get you a year of the little blue check mark. And what does he do? He goes and he opens his big butt mouth on a topic he didn't need to mention. And again, this is where I think sometimes the autism comes in. He doesn't realize, like he says these things, but he's looking at it through his perspective and doesn't realize maybe how it came across. But Twitter banned
well, the way
him. So we lost the whole year membership down the tube.
Listen, the way Twitter addressed it was they said this was a statement that endorsed violence against others. And in the context of what it actually meant versus what it literally said, I agreed with them. I wasn't actually suggesting that people actually do anything truly violent, but the phrasing sort of endorsed the idea. And I was like, okay, I get that. Can you now unpermaban me? And they would never answer me. Of course, I was in the bot zone then.
Yeah.
It was too
so
late.
All that money, $100 and something for the year. So now I'm paying a little bit more, $16 a month, so that if he does decide to go down that road again, at least I'll only lose the 16 as opposed to 100 and something.
But I have learned a valuable lesson. There are so many tweets that I have just hit delete on. I'm like, I've started like, I'm going through and there's these things about, gender ideology or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll start thinking about talking about it. And I'll write a paragraph and I'll go, you know what? Diana will kill me. Do not send this. Do not send this. Good evening, Tim.
Oh man, why did you tell me not to send it? I sent it to all kinds of people. Just
yeah. Well, yeah. So I don't know if we want to talk about that in chat, do we? Diana.
Well,
do I want to talk about that?
I would be very careful of how you word it.
Well, in a nutshell, if you want to come on the show, let us know. And we may send you a link to StreamYard. But we are going to gatekeep the chat, meaning live StreamYard chat. Only because there's certain topics, items, things that literally drive the viewers down.
Right.
And we've seen it. We've seen it for a long time.
It's a data-driven decision, if you guys understand data-driven. But we are almost out of time. Well, I am almost out of time because I really am leaving at 9.
What?
But you can stay, Christopher, and chat.
No, you have to stay too. You can't.
Oh my God! Well, I have things I have to do.
She's a busy woman. Damn it!
Oh my gosh, you don't understand it.
Diana,
you told
you
me
make my ham sandwich later.
No, you said to me that, hey, I really want to start streaming every night. Would you join me? 8 o'clock. Okay. 8 to when? 8 to 9, an hour, just an hour.
Oh, you're still gonna sleep on the couch.
Hi.
So I'm like, okay, it's an hour and almost an hour, and I've done my.
She doesn't even know.
You stop. Yeah, I can see. I'm watching the screen. You're sitting here, moving me in, moving me out. Oh, you're so crazy. You're so crazy.
Well, when you were going at your, I did it like twice before you noticed, so it was cracking me up.
No, I noticed it all the time. I just didn't say anything because I was talking, even though you kept moving me.
As soon as he lets me back up, I'm gonna continue my sentence.
No, but so yeah, so we are trying to build up our channel by having this daily talk, and we never know what we're going to talk about. Chris is basically leading the conversation, and I just chime in when I can.
Today I'm looking at Twitter basically, and we'll end up building some sort of format where we talk about whatever's happening within indie comics, or maybe even a little outside of it. Like Journey has plenty of songs we can discuss. But listen to Tim. Now I know Tim is a Journey fan, aren't you, Tim?
Yeah, that's right. You totally got me there. Everything about me just screams Journey.
Journey was like the 80s Bon Jovi, you know. They were just not they were not really rock and roll.
They were the crappiest song in the heavy metal soundtrack.
Yeah, but all the women love their music, man.
Oh, what the hell with them?
Yeah. I mean, how many songs were, you know, all their songs were about women. All their songs that were hits were, you know, Lady by the Bay, City by the Bay. Yeah, that's the name of the song. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Proving.
And then there was Foreigner. Foreigner was like a cheap Journey. They had a good singer, but all their music was so basic. But they touched into that ballad scene. And then, I don't know what, the Misfits. They were heavy on ballads.
Of course, they're awesome.
Yeah, not one ballad did they contribute to our society.
Yeah, but they came up with some really awesome songs, and they were all about
You hear
horror
that?
and sci-fi, everything that every nerd everywhere loves.
You hear that?
Yep.
That's my wife IMing me. I wanted to share that because that's my IM alert. The Power Rangers.
So read it and respond if you can.
Yes, hang on. Let me go over there. I'll do that.
Thank you. Rick, I got
Tim
your
and, I
back.
were, Tim and I were engaged in a very intellectual conversation. The
Yeah, over
Misfits were
Journey.
serious business. No, we had transitioned to the Misfits.
Oh,
Yes, we
so
did.
sorry.
A
You
really
have
good
to be-
topic.
Yeah,
I don't know
be
the
cruel to
Misfits.
your school. Twisted Sister was a great band, you know.
I will admit that we ain't gonna take it anymore song is pretty good.
Yeah, but Be Cruel to Your School was even better.
Rock and Roll High School, Ramones.
Have you ever heard that song? It was so bad. It came off like their fourth LP. It was the follow-up to Stay Hungry.
Yeah.
And it was on the same album, I think, that Leader of the Pack was on. It was just disgustingly.
Oh my God.
It was bad.
Sorry. I'm getting tired, guys.
Yeah, don't stop believing, brother. Look, there's a true believer.
Oh, well, I'll pray for him.
Hey, at least I'm not talking Fleetwood Mac now.
I was trying to
I
find.
like Fleetwood. I like them. What's wrong
See,
with
I'm
Fleetwood
now
Mac?
getting into the woman area. She's like, yeah, Fleetwood Mac. I like them. If you don't love me now, you can never love me again. I can still hear you saying, we must never break the chains.
Oh my God.
Do you know what we do when we go on long distance
Nerd.
trips, Diana and I? We turn on the radio and I sit there going, okay, who's this? Quick, hurry up. What band? What band? Like the whole way to Florida, that's what I did to her.
Uh-huh.
It was so
All right.
cool. She was so impressed by my knowledge of American pop and rock.
Oh, yeah. I was. That was very, yeah, I was.
She was
Right?
texting her family how cool I was while she was driving. It was neat. She managed it.
So this is why we only stay on for an hour. As you can tell, it's starting
No,
to.
you're leaving, right? So I'm probably going to stay on for another half hour or so at least.
I think you should. I think you should.
Of course you do. You
talk
want me to
with your-
just stay up here and talk to people.
Well, you need to
What?
talk, and you talk to me all the time. You don't ever stop talking. So, and I always give you the same answer. Honey. Oh, that's nice. Yes, really.
You know
Well,
what? That's why I have cats and a dog, 2 dogs even. They talk too, you know.
Oh my gosh! Did you do what you were supposed to do?
I did. He's ignoring me.
Okay.
Unless I didn't send it to him. No, I did send it to him.
Oh my God.
I've done that. You know, I was talking to one guy and I sent a very specific message, which thank God didn't have any details in it, like as far as identifiers. Sent it to the wrong person. It was completely about business, had no business going anywhere but one person.
No, I know.
Complete stranger. He was like, okay. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, wrong person. Ugh.
Find it, dang it.
Yeah, I don't think he likes me anymore, honey.
I was looking for that.
Where did you send it?
To the X.
All right.
El
Rick-
Twitter.
Check your Twitter.
Unless
Oh,
why? Where's
God.
Rick? Does he want me to send it through Facebook?
You know, the place where all the twits live.
Let's see. Facebook. I think I have an account there.
My God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you know what?
There was a clip from a documentary about hardcore punk in the 80s, and Keith Morris, he used to be lead singer of a band called Black Flag. He said it was basically record the intro, record the outro, cut all the fat, and get on with it. That's pretty much punk in general.
Well, where's the singing part?
I don't think they really gave a crap.
That's the only thing missing in punk.
There's bands that are melodic. It's just that they were more concerned about playing really, really fast.
Yeah, but that's thrash.
No, thrash was metal that was basically inspired by punk.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
it had
thrash-
singing. No, actually, you know, they really didn't. The singing they had, like, I think when you get past Slayer, it's hard to call any of it singing.
Yeah.
I think.
Slayer's not, and I couldn't get into Slayer.
No, I couldn't either, but at least they kind of had they almost had a melody. I am south of heaven. Dun, 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 dun. That's the only song I remember by them explicitly, because I had to play that one, and there was one other one I had to play when I was in a metal band called Toe Jam. And yeah,
my God,
we did like all the Metallica songs we could learn. We did a couple of Megadeth, and we did 2 Slayer.
Right.
And then they wanted to do a band called Deicide, and that was where I stopped playing, because Deicide was literally like just spewing Antichrist stuff. And I was like, are you out of your mind? I'm not. No. You know?
I've never heard of them.
Yeah, that's how bad they were, dude. They were just, and it was all for shock value, you know, like it was anything you can think to say negative against the Lord, they would sing it.
Well, most of those really like quote unquote satanic bands, they were all atheists. So
Right.
It's
Oh wow, I had a hairband stuck to my mic.
yeah. So yeah, I like the Misfits because they sing about sci-fi and horror movies, and I'm a dork. So
I just like making fun of them in front of you because I know I know that you love punk, so I'm like, hey, Blondie was the best punk band of all time. They did start off as a punk band, from what I understand.
yes, they did.
Oh my God.
Well, and then they became like the most successful disco act probably of the 70s.
They kind of did. Yeah, they kind of went that way, didn't they?
Well, for that, at least one album, maybe 2. I don't remember how many. I remember, you know, like they had their hits.
Well, they're part of that CBGB scene, and I guess
So, gentlemen, this is where I take my leave. So you can continue.
Okay.
See, I got to learn to be mean like that when people start talking, right?
No.
Yeah.
So you need
I want
to
you
just
to know I love you, honey. I'm going to kick
Have
you
a good
off.
night, Diana.
Yeah, I'm
Good night,
kicking you
guys.
off. Bye. I like doing that.
There's a movie that's about CBGBs. It's about Hilly Crystal. You know the guy who played the villain in I think Die Hard, and he was like one of the teachers in the Harry Potter movies, the one that talked like this. He
Yes.
played Hilly Crystal. He played Hilly Crystal, and they had the guy who played the dad in Grounded for Life as kind of like his right hand man, and it was just about him kind of starting this club that lasted for 30 years. But I mean, they had everything from like debt collectors coming to collect money. Yes, thank you. It was actually kind of funny in a way, like because like the one that played Hilly Crystal's mom was the lady from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Right.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. So she kept saying, "You're gonna pay him back the money," and he's like, "Yeah."
So, like, Rick is not answering.
I know. I don't know.
I sent him the message in 2 different format, like in 2 different systems. I
Yeah.
think he's got me muted or blocked.
I don't think.
Must
Why
be
would he
mad
do?
at me.
Why would he do that?
I
don't
think
think he
he's
did
got
that.
I think he's got a split personality. and
Yeah.
it goes behind him and blocks me.
He blocked you after way too many drinks, and he doesn't remember.
Yeah. Well, la do day. Rick, message me and I will send it in the response because that something's not connecting. I've sent it in Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to send you at least a clip of that. You got to look up that movie, CBGBs.
Yeah, you know what? It sounds familiar, but I don't think I've seen it. Because I
think
probably would know, if I had.
I had watched it several times. So just there's a scene where these people come to collect because he had his money. Like he had two thugs with him, and he didn't have the money, so he just called up the bikers that used to hang out there. They came all in and they grabbed the debt collector and his two thugs and they forced him into a car and drove away. And his daughter's like, "What the hell was that?" And he goes, "That was a shakedown, New York style."
What?
Or like these bikers used to hang around, and Hilly Crystal was, I guess, very absent-minded, so he'd forget to pay rent because he had the bar, and he didn't pay rent on the bar. So the people he owed money to went to forcibly collect the rent from him. So he told his daughter to call these people. They showed up, they got them, and they drove away with them.
So for the record, I just did what I said I wasn't going to do. I posted the link in the chat.
Oh, shoot. Well, that doesn't.
Well, Diana's not here, and we only have a little bit of time left. Like, I won't be on all night, so.
Yeah. That kind of defeats the purpose, don't it?
Yeah, but I'll have to explain it. I don't want to explain it in public because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. But like literally, there are certain things we can do during a chat that make it just like we watched it. It's like the views just whoop. And so like we have to be cognizant. Is that a word of it?
Yeah.
I
just thought maybe something happened where somebody came on and just totally got you guys kind of in trouble.
No. But seriously, like what would you do, right? If you're doing your show, you're doing your stream, right? And like you have like 7 viewers, and every time one dude comes on, everybody leaves, except for the guys on the panel. And like you're watching your stats, and you're like, oh no. And
I don't know.
It's just it's kind of like putting rocks in the middle of a speedboat raceway. It's like, okay, we got to be cognitive, and we got to be aware, and we don't want to be mean. So it's like, okay, but it's like werewolves. After a certain time at night, that's when they come out.
You also
Rick's computer is being a pain. I hope he didn't get a Chromebook that's being a pain.
Well,
I think he got Windows.
Do you ever consider streaming on connecting this to Twitter too? So you have a.
Yeah, you know what? That might be the next step. That and Kick. Every time I go to a convention, I have a bunch of teenagers telling me I should be on Kick. So I might actually try that soon. I don't know. I don't really like getting into
Herman says he's that guy. Sorry.
No, Herman is not that guy. Gosh, oh God, I don't want to say anything. It's so mean. But like oh Jesus, help me, Tim.
Oh, what do you want? What are you doing, man?
So like there's just certain commercial breaks that don't need to happen in the show where we have allowed other shows to be advertised. Am I saying this wrong or right? I don't know, but it always
you're advertising everybody else and getting no views for it.
No, it's not even that. It's one. Okay, I'm gonna say it, and I love Mike, but don't take this personally, Mike, if you see this. But every time he comes on, he starts talking about his show. It's like we lose all our viewership, and it's kind of because his show is niche. And if people want to hear about it, they go there to hear about it. But like when he goes on and he's like, so last week, oh God, I hate doing this. But last week we read 1939s, whatever. It's like, okay, but now I just lost the 5 viewers that were hanging or the 4 viewers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we can talk about that on your show, bro. So, but I don't know how to say that to him. So I don't want to say it. It's like, because, I like Mike. It's just numbers. And Diana and I have talked about it a few times. And it's like, oh, what do you do? What do you do? And she's like, I don't know. Do what you're gonna do. I'm like, all right, well. And really, like, that's kind of where Testify would have been handy, because Testify used to just come in and blow chats out, you know. And of course, remember, they didn't get along, so that kind of makes sense. Nobody got along with Testify. Testify got under everybody's nerves.
Yeah. Well, I kind of tried to stay out of the. I really tried to stay under the radar because of that crap.
You kind of did too. Congratulations, because I got like into it a couple of times, and it's never fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I got targeted like once, and I didn't. I kind of embraced it, so it kind of started.
I target you every day, Tim. I go to your feed and I wait for you to say something about the Misfits. And boy, I'm waiting. When you mention the Misfits, I'm going to bring up Journey. That's going to be my new anti-Misfits go-to.
It's not my fault you're lame, Chris.
I love messing with you on that, because I know like how punk people are. They're like dedicated to their stuff.
Yeah.
So like, you know, throwing a little I Was Made for Loving You by Kiss is always a great song.
I saw that.
That's like the worst possible Kiss song in the world.
I'm sorry, I don't dance. I kick ass.
And they just look so bad in that era. The disco edition of Kiss surely was even worse than the glam edition without makeup, when they came out trying to look like, you know, Poison.
I don't know.
40 years old.
I just can't like that band. That band's stupid. Heck, they lip sync to their own songs, and it's like people like kind of ignore that. It's like, dude, they got caught lip syncing to Detroit Rock City.
I love it when they get caught lip syncing, because it's honest. They're just letting it show. They're just letting it show.
That they have no talent.
I remember, so I've seen Aerosmith twice, right? And the first time I saw them on Lightning Strikes, that was the tour, and they sucked. They were horrible. They couldn't hold a tune to save their lives that show. Then I saw them on Permanent Vacation, and I was sitting in the back left of by the stage, but it was like up in the top back left of the rafters. And I could see their keyboardist, and they had sampled so many more of their choruses and stuff. And the guy was playing the vocals on the keyboards. He had samples, and he was just playing the samples. And they were singing, but they were also using these live samples to augment it, you know? And I was like, that's genius. That's where technology is taking them. But now it's so electronic. They just hold a live mic while the computer does all the work, and they do an occasional, yeah, how you doing out there in the internet tonight? Yeah. Did you see the Super Bowl?
No, I caught highlights, but I didn't watch it.
The halftime, well, the whole show, like I don't know, I didn't pay enough attention to it, but every time I looked up, it just felt like a Disney take on everything, right? And then the live show was just, it was putrid, bro. I don't know, like, why do it if you're not going to have, if it's not live, if it's not real? And they had live mics, but there's no way like Usher was singing all that stuff all that time. You know, a lot of it was just coming right off a recording. Hey, look, maybe we have something here.
Oh, hey, it's Rick. He finally showed up. Look who decided.
Yeah, I decided to use my phone.
Hey, it's working.
How is everything in Chilliwack?
It's a bit chilly and whack.
How'd the job interview go?
I ended up having two, one on Thursday, one on Friday, one for the meat place, and one for the brick. And I've actually got one at McDonald's for not this Thursday, but a week from Thursday.
Oh yeah, so you haven't gotten one yet?
What, a job?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
But 3 interviews in like 2 weeks is, I think, the most interviews I've ever had in that. amount of time before, so that's
There
a
you
good
go.
thing.
Yeah, it is.
Light 'em on
Hopefully-
fire. Let's do this.
And well,
Yeah.
and I should know one way or another for the other two by sometime this week. So,
Uh-oh.
hopefully, well,
Let's see.
or what?
No, I went, somebody just messaged me. Let me peek at it real quick. You go ahead and talk.
Probably Diana saying wrap it up.
I wonder who that is. Through Facebook?
I don't know.
Hang on. Okay, what is this thing? Okay, she sent me a clip of Stan Lee talking about the beginnings of Spider-Man. She must have seen it and felt inspired. He's old and on a stage and people are cheering, so I'm sure it's going to make me feel good later.
This Stanley interview is brought to you by.
Oh, your
Depends.
wife sent it to you?
Yeah, so that means she probably saw it and probably made her feel warm and fuzzy. So she's like, I got to share it with him. He'll love it. And I haven't seen it before, so I probably will love it. I used to tell people before it seemed to become fashionable that Stan Lee was my my home away from home father, because my dad had actually left the family when I was like 3 years old. And I literally grew up reading either stuff that he wrote or stuff that fell under his editorial umbrella. And I think that had a large part of my formation of morals and stuff. Jesus and the Bible really weren't significant to me until my, early adulthood. So like a lot of the things where I'm like, that's a good thing, that's a bad thing, that came from Peter Parker. That came from Reed Richards. That came from, believe it or not, Doctor Strange. You know what I'm saying? Like the characters of the 60s and 70s raised me.
Yeah. Well, heck, just Peter Parker's core belief, the core thing that drives him: with great power comes great responsibility. I would say it's almost biblical.
Honestly, this is just me, and you guys will probably hate me for saying this, but I always thought Peter Parker was a bitch.
Yeah, no, it's just you.
Always whining about, my uncle died. Get over your uncle already.
But it was Uncle Ben, man. He had a rice company.
I don't think it's the thing that it's so much about his uncle dying. I think it's the fact that he let the criminal go. It was sort of his fault that it happened. That's what got to him.
Well, you know what's interesting to me about
And he didn't want somebody else dying from his inaction again.
Yeah,
but that whole Uncle Ben,
it was a defining moment in his life.
The Uncle Ben thing didn't really come alive to me until the movie, because when I got into Spider-Man, he was a photographer. His girlfriend was the redhead. What's her face?
Mary Jane.
Mary Jane. Yeah, MJ. And it was like he was an adult. And then in reprints, I saw little bits and pieces, and then I started learning more and more. But the movies really brought home that whole Uncle Ben thing, because when I first started reading Spider-Man, I was more into the John Romita Sr. house art Spider-Man type stuff. And the Steve Ditko stuff I really didn't experience until later.
I was more into like the Punisher, X-Force, Wolverine kind of stuff.
Well, the Punisher had Mike Zeck, so I could be there on that for sure.
But I mean, I'm talking about, like, I think it was John Byrne. I think it was drawing Wolverine, I think, for a bit. But I think it was like when Mark Silvestri was drawing Wolverine. There's like a 3-issue story arc where it was called Blood and Claws, and it's like Wolverine and Puck had been tossed back into the Spanish Civil War. And like
that's funny.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, like, the going back in time actually caused Puck to get taller for some reason.
The thing is, I don't know that much about Puck, but I used to love him in Alpha Flight.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he did any time traveling with Wolverine.
Well, it was there was this mutant, I think her name was Spiral, and she sent them back in time or something. So Deathstrike, the one with that she had like those long fingernails,
Yep.
and she blamed Logan for I guess she hated Logan because he had something that her father invented or something.
It's amazing because people don't understand. We had women characters in the 80s and 90s, and they were prominent.
She was a bad bitch.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
Yes.
Lady Deathstrike. Yeah.
So Rick is our reporter from Canada. He's way up north by the North Pole, and the satellites are just out of reach.
Yes. He had to fight a moose to get his camera back.
Poor
He was
guy,
terrible.
man. I can tell like everything's skipping on him too. Hang on, he's in a new window. Let me switch him in. Hey Rick, meet Cross Comics on the other side. See it?
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna remove that other one.
Pick the other one.
Let me see.
Okay, now I need to get my.
Honestly, I like the characters that were kind of badass. I always thought Peter Parker was kind of a whiny little, I have such a tough life, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but he was Spider-Man, man. He could walk on walls.
Yeah,
cares?
but the thing is, in a lot of ways, he did have a tough life because almost everything he did, if not everything he did, somehow come back to bite him in the butt. Whether it was good, bad, or in between. Whether his motives were actually, it seemed the more often that his motives were good, the more it came.
I
back
would
to bite him.
argue Wolverine had a tougher life. I mean, everybody that was close to him always got killed. So yeah, that's right. In your face.
I'm thinking of the harder life. Let me think. There are Marvel characters that had harder lives, but like that are notable.
Yeah, well, Wolverine's also over 100 years old, so of course, most of the people that he knew that he was close to died.
Well, like as far as popular, what about Silver Surfer? He had the whole Superman story. His whole homeworld got obliterated, right? And then he got trapped on Earth for trying to stand up for mankind and alien life.
Yeah,
it
not
was a
quite the
rough
same
life.
as Superman.
He was crushed, man. He lost everything, and then he came to Earth, and almost he tried to fight for us, and ended up getting stuck here like a NASA ship that wants to go to the moon but can't get through that belt of radiation there.
And then they made a crappy Nintendo game about him.
And then
It's
they
not my
released
fault
him.
the Earth is flat.
Well, they also did do a cartoon for him too. He had one season of a cartoon.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
And he
yeah,
had
well,
And he,
listen, he had the quintessential hard game on NES.
it was a crappy game.
Have you ever played it?
Yes, I hated it.
I owned it and tried to play it. Like it was my obsession for a summer, as I was just convinced it was my shitty playing. And then after I gave up and years later, I'm watching video game reviews and everybody was like, this game sucks. It's so hard. I was like, all right. It wasn't just me. It was really a bad game. But yeah,
No,
it was set
it
up.
was really a hard game.
Well,
You
it was
guys
set
were
up
just
kinda
all
like
bad
Mega Man.
players.
You could pick like which enemy you wanted to go against, but it was this impossible shooter. Like
Yeah,
they'd
it
have
was.
spots that you could only fit in, like you only had like 2 pixels on top and bottom. You had to get in perfect. And while you're trying to fit in these little tiny spots, there's a million bullets coming at you from 3 different directions. And it's like you can only shoot so much, and you have no mobility. You're dead. You're dead. That's it. And they only had so many, lives, and there were no continues, and you'd memorize whole boards just to get to a new one and have to start memorizing again. And heaven forbid if you were like, smoking pot or drinking beer or something, because you'd never get through that game.
Did you ever play the X-Men arcade?
Yes.
You always had to get three
Yeah.
three other your friends, so you could all 4 parts of the console will take it up. Because you don't want to play it by yourself.
It was like the first step into group fantasy playing. Like Up until then, you might have had 2-player, excitement, but it really wasn't like that. And then now we have the internet where you can have like all sorts of, look, there's 700 people on the battlefield. Okay, great. But yeah, X-Men Arcade was intense.
Yeah, actually, most of those things, most of the multiplayer ones online, you can only team up with about 8 players. There may be
Yeah, no,
50
but like I
zillion
think
players online.
I'm not sure what
You
Fortnite
can
and
only
Call of
team up with
Duty,
8.
but what do Fortnite and Call of Duty max out at? Because I'm sure they're huge. And I don't know, like,
Well, you can play against that. With Fortnite, at least, in Call of Duty, there's like, I don't know, 50 or 100 players that you're playing against, but you can have
Yeah,
a team
yeah.
of like three or four.
Unless you do like sneaky, like, alliances. We will unite and take down the
But
kingdom.
still,
Or then there
Your
was
tribe and my
there
tribe.
was the
Yeah.
Avengers arcade.
The what?
The Avengers arcade. Did you ever play that?
yeah,
I believe I have. And the Turtles
Yeah.
one, which was, there was a Turtles one that was similar in that they
Yeah.
had the 4 players set up too.
Yeah.
actually,
I don't know. I miss
with
the arcades.
X-Men,
You can actually have
with the X-Men,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say with the X-Men one, there was machines that you could do up to 6 or 8 players too. To have all
Yeah.
the characters on screen.
That I believe. I haven't seen that, but I believe it. They had racers
I
like
played-
that too,
I
and they
played
still
them.
do. Have you ever seen like those racers where they'll have like 8 to 12 like seated ones? In the beach arcades, they still have them where they'll just have a row of these and they're all in the same race.
I didn't realize I'd see 2 or 3 together. I
Oh yeah,
didn't
no,
realize there was-
at the beaches down here, they have like, I know there's one that has a dozen of them lined up because they actually have it on the sign, and like you
Yeah,
can
but
hop
are
in,
they-
and there'll be like 2 people on the other end of the line, and you're literally like in the race with them, but you're separated by the cars until you catch them, and it's the same, like if you're in seat 2 and they're in seat 10, they're always there, but you can like drive up on them and catch them, or vice versa. It's cool. It's neat.
Oh, okay.
It's fun.
I don't think I've ever seen that for the racing ones myself.
If you ever get
I've
to
seen
Mass,
that.
if you ever get here for the convention, I'll take you out to the arcade out there because they have like, I don't know, like I bet you can find them in casinos too, but they're just these huge, I don't know, it's probably because that's all they do, these huge devices, they look more like casinos now if you go to a modern arcade. A lot of gimmicky play for tickets type stuff.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Hey, let's
Several
do the
different
claw. I hate claws. They always drop this stuff. I can never pick it up.
I think it's
Well,
rigged.
I did that. It used to be that way, but now I think no matter what, you play till you get a prize.
I don't know. Tim's right. I think it's rigged.
I think it's like remember those Carney games, how they have them rigged a certain way.
Like there's a guy in the back and
Yeah,
he
but you
only
can
lets
still
like
win
his
that.
friends win.
Well, I mean, like the little cloth parts are loose, so it doesn't really can't pick up anything really.
The fingers are all like wimped out.
Yeah.
So they look like they're gonna grab and then they just don't have the strength. Yeah, haha.
Yeah.
We tricked you. Or maybe there's only one way they work and nobody can figure it out. I don't know. I know some people seem to do all right with it, but I'm never. It's like, yeah, screw you. You're not Spider-Man. This is not Peter Parker's claw. It's not even Miles Morales' claw.
Those guys don't have claws.
That's right. That's right.
Well, not that version of Spider-Man.
I think there's only one that has
Spiderine.
claws.
So
Wolver Spider.
I'm not sure what Terry was talking about, but I love both those games, Cruising USA and Cruising World.
Yeah.
They're like really silly arcade racers, really.
Yeah.
Remember
I played
playing
both
the-
remember playing the original Mario Kart and you had battle mode? When
Yes.
you go around the corner, you'd set a trap for something to run right into like a banana peel or something.
Yeah, yeah. I play all those things on my Retroid.
Yes. Are you gonna give me the?
Fortunately, you guys
the
have
retro.
one I don't have.
Are you gonna give me the spare one?
I don't even know when I'm gonna in the new one, but maybe.
You know you want to.
But there are a lot of teachers out there with needs.
To hell with those teachers. You know I want it.
No, actually, I don't even know what I'm going to do with the flip because I do love the flip. The only thing is it's not suited for like I tried to do PSP infiltration on PSP and it's just not going to do it. The flip is not strong enough. So I was like, that's kind of wussy. It does play Call of Duty.
I'm just saying you got Mortal Kombat 2 on there, and I want it.
Yeah. Well, that's the Super NES version. I could put down the arcade version. Those ROMs are publicly available, which is kind of funny, but you can get like all sorts of arcade stuff. My favorite, which I'll share with everybody, is Ladybug. And that's because that is early 80s arcade game that my mom used to play way back when I was a kid down at the local sandwich shop.
Oh, I remember Ladybug.
Yep. And it's kind of stupid, but when I play
my mom played it a lot. We had it for the ColecoVision.
Yeah, when I play it, I can almost feel my mom like behind me.
It's hard though.
Yeah, it is hard. It's like Pac-Man with walls and stuff.
We
what about Tapper?
You know, that and Mousetrap.
What about
Tapper? I like, but my mom never played Tapper. Mousetrap, I don't remember playing much, but I remember it.
Yeah, they were both on the Coleco. Me and my mom played that and Ladybug a lot. Those two were good and fun.
I never had Coleco. We had Commodore 64 growing up. And our favorite game to play was
you're not old enough to have had a Coleco unless you bought it like fourth hand.
Well, literally, my neighbor had a Coleco, and the biggest things we played were Donkey Kong and Zaxxon.
Dude,
I didn't mean you, Chris. I meant Tim.
Dude,
yeah,
I had Zaxxon for Commodore 64, and I ruled at that game.
I loved Zaxxon, even though I wasn't the best at it. It was always kind of cool the way it was 3D, but not. It was isometrical, but still had the dimensions of up and down. And
yeah, you could destroy things at the floor,
environmentally. Yes,
I had it. I had Zaxxon for the Coleco and for the Atom.
Now the Atom was something I always wanted, and by the time I thought I could convince my mother, there were so many complaints about it that I gave up. Because they were like, well, this breaks, the printer doesn't work, that didn't work right. And there was no way I was going to talk mom into that after that.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but mine always seemed to work. Mine worked properly, printer and all that.
Remember, like even the Red Ring of Death for the Xbox 360, even that wasn't every single unit. So you might have gotten, blessed. I don't want to say you might have been lucky. You might have been blessed and actually had a great one.
Yeah.
My PlayStation 2 got a Red Light of Death, and that's the last game system I had for a long time until I got the Xbox here.
Yeah.
And then, we first got the Atom attachment for the Coleco, and eventually, I think that did go on us when we bought a whole Atom.
I just remember at that time I wanted a computer.
Yeah.
The mother, God rest her soul, in her infinite lack of understanding of what I was looking for, bought me an electric portable typewriter and a chocolate PC. And I was just like, oh, thanks. Literally, like I was thinking, okay, I can type code out on paper and then put it in the computer at high school and test it there. But I was hoping to get like a device that I could actually code on and test it to some extent. And that killed my whole programming desire.
Well,
that would have been the only thing I would have done other than comics is coding video games.
Yeah, my mom and my dad got it for me because they realized computers were going to be a big thing.
Yeah,
even back
mine.
back in like the early '80s, mid '80s.
See, and when I was growing up, nobody was even trying to advise me. When I said I wanted to be an artist, I knew I wanted to be a comic book artist. People were telling me, don't. Nobody makes money in comics. There's no way. And then
Nobody did
when,
that for me either, but
yeah, it was all, there was never any support. And I don't remember. I remember I left high school in 10th grade. I ended up having to go get a GED because, believe it or not, autistic people aren't very sociable. So I didn't deal well with high school during puberty. And I literally walked out as soon as I could. I quit. Um,
Mm.
and I think if I had had the support that the autistic students have today, I easily would have gone through, because
yeah,
when I did the GED, I flew through it like it was a joke because I knew the
yeah.
stuff. I just could not handle the social.
Well, the thing is, for me, I never even really had a social thing in high school. I just kept to myself for the most part. I did
Well,
what I had to
I
do.
tried to, but like I always ended up being the kid in the bathroom that could get picked on because I'd say something stupid. Like I'd
Oh,
walk in and there'd be
I was the
smoke, and
kid
I'd be
that
like, "Yo, I gotta take a pee. Can you go smoke outside?" That would always get me in trouble. What are you gonna do? Narc on us? No, man. But geez, it always smelled in
well,
the bathroom.
I never came across anybody smoking in the bathroom, but you know.
I always got
Although I didn't really get picked on a lot in high school, but I was, the kid that got picked on all through school too. Anyways,
See, when
Tim
I
was
was
trying to
going to
say something.
school, everybody smoked, so the teachers couldn't tell when you were smoking. Like you could smoke like if you smoked in a building now, they'd smell it. Tim's trying to talk. I
Yeah,
can tell.
I was gonna say I usually was the kid that would push back and then get the crap kicked out of him.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
Although,
way I ended up too.
although I think here in Canada we started the non-smoking in buildings sooner, and well, I never started smoking, and I'm sure there's people that did or whatever first. It's
So in my sophomore year of high school, they opened a smoking section in the back of the school, and anybody could go so long as they had parental permission, and that included staff members who went down all the time to smoke while the students were out there. That's how bad it was in Massachusetts and New Hampshire in like 82. They were literally, maybe 83. They were literally like, school was cool. You're going to smoke anyways. Might as well do it here. And then I don't know what
or you,
happened, but
or
there was
you,
a huge anti-smoking push, and that's when they finally lost it.
yeah. Well, and actually, it's more. We know you're going to smoke, so you might as well smoke out back instead of in the washrooms.
They were trying to stop that because that was the biggest thing. Like, you go in between classes and a janitor would go in and he's cleaning out the toilets that are just, everybody's throwing cigarettes in the urinals. There's like 5 cigarettes in each urinal. And it was just kids going in and steamboating them and going to class, and nobody stopped them because the teachers were in the teachers' lounge steamrolling their cigarettes. It's like,
Yeah.
what? That was the 80s though.
Yep.
People who didn't smoke were rare.
I wouldn't say rare, but
Where I
there
was
were.
like, so I remember going to restaurants and then have a non-smoking section, and it would never fail. It'd be off in the corner of the restaurant. And yes, nobody was smoking like 10 feet around them, but they're in the same atmosphere. There's no walls, there's no doors. And they're
Yeah.
like, well, it's over there, so it's not the same as over here. Now we
Yeah.
know
Well,
the secondhand smoke was just everywhere.
well, and heck, there was once upon a time where it was just there wasn't smoking and non-smoking section. It was just sit
Yeah,
down
it
and
was
you
all,
smoke.
shoot, there were doctors' offices and emergency rooms with ashtrays in the waiting chairs built in like they used to have in
Yeah.
cars. The armrests used to
Yeah.
have a cigarette, an ashtray in them. I
Yeah.
remember because as a kid, it was fun to pull those apart. They had a little metal tray
Yeah.
and you would pull it out to empty it. Well, we used to take it out and hide stuff underneath it and put gum in
We
there
never
and all.
did that. I never did
We
that,
messed
but
with it. Yeah,
I
we
kept,
messed with our moms.
I know I remember flipping it up and open, a few times in a row when I'm bored, just
Oh, the doors were cool, weren't they? They always seemed to have that little spring load in them. Yeah, chink, chink, chink.
Yeah.
Now I feel bad though. Tim, did you not have any of these things in your childhood?
What are you talking about?
Like
It's-
ashtrays in the back seat of your mother's car, or
No, they
the-
had ashtrays and they had were right underneath the radio and they with
Yep.
the cigarette lighter. Yeah, I don't remember that.
Oh, that was the
Well, they
best one
said-
underneath the radio. That was a huge one.
Well, the cars,
Everybody
I
had-
think, still have cigarette lighters or lighters, anyways.
Mine does, but it's weird because like it's mainly there for electrical access. I don't think
Yeah.
I actually have a lighter. I just have the jack for one, and they use
Yeah.
it with like accessories now.
Yeah, that might be it. They just have the jack there for accessories. To
But
plug
yeah,
stuff
it's the
in.
same. It's the same tech, the same connection, and maybe that's just because they want to maintain like a universal access with things that were already built. But it's a bulky
Although-
big plug that goes in there because it was a bulky big lighter when they first used them.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say bulky big, but
Well, think about it. It's
Depends on
about
the-
what, a quarter inch to a half inch wide, right?
yeah,
And today the USB-C is about maybe an eighth of an inch wide by a quarter inch.
yeah. If you go by a USB, but there's also some cars nowadays that have the USB too as well. But
Yeah.
there's so many
And-
things that are powered by you put in the cigarette lighter to power.
Yeah, like they've been making accessories with that power access for decades. So, if they can maintain it, they will. But still, to me, as a tech, I'm like, oh, that's as big as an XLR. That would be like a mic jack. And that's big to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. But
Yeah, I
initially
guess it
those were
depends on
electric coils that heated up and you'd light your cigarettes off of them, which to a non-smoking child today would seem so bizarre. Yeah, you heat up this piece of metal and a piece of electric thing in your car, and then you hold it to a cigarette and suck in, and it will light a cigarette. And people are like, "What?"
Yeah, well,
it's
they
really-
probably did it. They probably did it based off of. Well, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But I was going to say maybe off of a stove element because how many smokers let their smoke off?
I
turn on
would
the-
have to say, yeah, they're definitely related. So is a toaster. It's the same common. Heat up a piece of metal and the heat comes out, and you can toast, you can cook, you can light. It's fire.
But a lot of people, my mom did it quite a few times. No lighter around, turn the burner on. That's just an element, a piece of metal.
Yep.
Put the
Yep.
cigarette on there to light it.
Yep. Yeah. Oh man, my mom was heavy smoking when I was growing up. I remember all that stuff too. I don't think it's a bad thing that the kids will never know, but the kids will never know what that world was like. It just was a whole different nasty. Everything smelled like smoke back then.
Yeah, but
You go- You go to
didn't
church
care.
and the pastor would be putting a cigarette out on the side. It's
Well, I never experienced that, but
I
But,
did
yeah,
city pastors.
I've seen some pastors smoke, but usually not at the pulpit.
Oh,
I
not
guess
in the
most of
pulpit. No, on the side of the building. Yeah, he's outside.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Remember The Exorcist, the movie?
But
None
then
of that
again,
was,
no.
none of that surprised me. Like when the guy was drinking a little. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Then
know
again-
pastors and preachers.
Although being in the Pentecostal thing, I never really seen a lot of pastors smoke because that was taboo.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
Pentecostals
came up
don't
around
smoke.
I came up around Catholic priests and Protestant non-denominational pastors.
Yeah.
Primarily, that was the two religious icons I knew. Now, I wasn't Catholic. That came from my buddy, who he was Catholic. And my mother used to just like send me to churches that were non-denominational Protestant. She'd go once or twice, and if she liked it, as long as their bus came and took us on Sundays, we could go to church. And
Yeah.
whether we wanted to or not, we went to church. But that was
Yeah.
good because that set a lot of that set up a lot of things for me for later on in life.
Yeah. That's something that is missing. There's still some churches that have it. Some have gotten out of the bus ministry, going around picking people up.
Well, I think particularly with the elderly and with the young, they're quite effective. Now, the the people who are trying to get rid of the elderly and the young for a few hours on Sunday, they may never come. But in a ministry, the ones who come are the ones that matter. So if you're going to a house and you can get grandma and 2 grandkids and the family itself, the parents themselves stay home, that's 3 more people that you didn't have, So it's, and you never know, those parents could come around if the kid starts coming around or if grandma
Yeah.
starts learning. Yeah.
Well, a lot did, and grandparents, they usually already wanted to go. It was just, sometimes, the elderly do not have good access to transportation.
Right. Or confidence.
Yeah.
A lot of times they can be afraid, well, if I try to step out alone and say I want to go to church, they're gonna, they're gonna make fun of me. But if the bus is coming anyways and Melda from down the road is going, hey, I can do this, and the kids can come and look, you guys get a few hours alone every Sunday. Yep, it's good. Now all of a sudden they want you to go to church. They're happy.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the parents, right?
Yeah.
But wow, why are we talking about ministries now? I love God. That's weird. Talking about ministries, I mean, not that I love God. Him went mute. We must have ignored him too many
Yeah.
times.
And
So-
I've got my show that's going to be starting in about 14 minutes.
Well, I figured we should probably talk about the other great song from the 80s, I Wear My Sunglasses at Night by Corey Hart.
Now, did you see the SNL skit where it was all these one-hit wonders from the 80s? And I read like that singer comes in, he's got like shards of like sunglasses sticking out. I was like, what happened to you? I wore my sunglasses at night.
I didn't see it, but
Or they had
Yeah.
that guy that said, what's the word? A word up. And he had he had this paper he's folding. He's gonna do like it's I don't know, it's about copyright, I guess, or like anyway, he's unfolding all this paper and he's like it's like this long thing and he just says word up and then he walks away. He's like unfolding this paper.
Chris, what I was going to suggest is if you, Mike's got his show on now, so, but you should probably just create a group on Twitter to put the link in if you want for those that you don't mind coming on a regular basis. That
I'm
way
not
you
sure
can
how
put
we're
the
going to
link in.
handle it. And like, I don't want to mess with Mike at all.
Yeah.
God bless Mike.
Oh yeah, I love Mike too. Yeah, and I'm not sure whether that affects my show or not. And I don't. In some ways, I care, but I don't care.
Well, it's just rough.
He
It's like,
doesn't try. He doesn't come on that often, so
well, he likes to come on whenever we're on if he's, before his show. God love him. But when he starts talking, it's like, literally, I've watched the counter and like Diana's watching the counter. And I'm like, she can see the counter. Oh, shit. And, then it's just like, she's like, well, you had it going there for a while. I'm like, stop it. She's like, you know what happened, right? I'm like, yep. And she's weird because she loves going on Mike's show. She loves doing the read-alongs and stuff. But she's like, I don't know. She's more serious than I am about, everything. So when she gets serious, I get serious, and then it gets serious, and then it's too serious. So I'd rather just goof off and make comics. Somebody talk, damn it. I think my whole computer froze. Rick froze for sure.
I didn't freeze. You were talking about
Dr. Pepper.
yeah. I'm not
Yeah, it's okay. You know what? We have no viewers right now. There might be 2 according to the little chart thing.
Well, I think you saw the DM in
Oh yeah, earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. He always has to message me about his show, and it's like cool. And I might be doing something, but it's like yeah.
Well, that's kind of why I've gotten distant about it because, like, yeah, I don't know.
I give
love
him
the guy. Last time I went on,
I give
just
him
felt
I give him a
like,
thumbs up because it's just like okay, I don't want to be rude to him.
yeah, I know.
I even kind of roundabout way hinted that he should like try something different in the show.
I think you should start with an opening. I would love to see him with an opening.
Well, I mean, like it's but sometimes the reading is kind of boring.
Well, it could be formatted better, yeah, but you know, I don't want to be a director for him.
I even suggested he should get like different people to play different parts of the book.
Yeah.
Different
Like
voice, yeah.
we've thought about that too, but we didn't want to rip any ideas off because it could be like a theater piece, you know.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying is that would be more interesting.
Yep.
Well, the problem is Mike has a hard time getting people on his show
Yeah.
and
Well,
keeping them.
we can pray about it. I don't know if you can hear that, but Diana's coming up the stairs now, interestingly enough. And she's trying to
Yeah.
take the dogs out, so I have to go walk dogs.
Yeah,
you
and
hear
no, not really. But I've got to go too. I've got to start my show in 10 minutes.
Oh shit, where are you doing it? On your channel?
Yeah.
YouTube?
Yep.
Movie reviews?
No, just my chill stream. So if you want to come and on the show, let me know.
Yeah, I'll come hang out for a little bit. I don't know if I'll come on
Okay.
the show, but I'll come mess with you in chat at the least.
Okay.
I gotta go walk the dog though.
Okay.
All right, Tim.
Right.
God bless Melvin, Tim. God bless
Yes.
Melvin.
Indeed. See you
I'll
around,
talk to-
man.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Make sure you end the show.
I have to do it after this thing. I have to play this like by contract. Hang on.
Okay.
There we go.
You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough.